G. Boss came up with he was a great musician. He came up with a song just for that occasion.
And he had a machine
And
that
it was-
stretched the sound.
It was called Excuses. Excuses. He had a little box that did that. He spoke excuses in it. Excuses. And he just, it was a nice song. But then, but anyway, excuses. I mean, that's a huge deal. What's our excuse for not? What is it? What is it that's holding us back? I mean, we all have reasons. But what's this about? What's the story about?
Putting our priorities ahead of God's.
Because I think we can go into any congregation here, in town, in this county. And you can ask everybody. Try it. Do you love Jesus? What are people going to say? Well, sure, I love Jesus. I love Jesus. What am I going to judge their heart? They don't love Jesus? It says a mark of the last days. Talks about it in the Gospels. I think it's in, I think it is in Timothy. One of the marks of the last days. It says the people will be lovers of pleasure and other things more than lovers of God. More. It doesn't say they don't have some love for God. They love other things more. First time I read that, it was just like, bam! Bam! It hits. God, I'm guilty. I get this. So, you could make lots of points from this passage. The point that I want to make is that God is calling us to be people that are hungry and thirsty. We need to be hungry and thirsty for God. We need to be hungry and thirsty for God. I think we're hungry and thirsty for so many other things. Yeah, I got some hunger for God. But Jesus said, this is one of the Beatitudes, we're maybe more familiar with the Beatitude, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Or here's the translation, happy are those whose greatest desire is to follow God in what He requires. God will satisfy them fully. Being hungry. Just think about it. What happens when you lose your passion, hunger? I'm talking hunger. The only time that I think that I have tapped into true hunger, I don't normally have any hunger pains. I have hunger pangs. I think the only time that probably one of the few times that I was truly hungry Benita and I, we went down to Cincinnati. I mapped out this trail. It was a bike trail. And I wanted to see the slope of the trail. Because if you bike, however far you go out, you got to come back. It's a simple principle. However you bike out, you got to come back. So I wanted to see the slope because on the way back, I wanted to go more downhill. If there was a slope of some sort, and there was a gentle slope that you would go downhill, that makes sense. You go down to the river. The Ohio River's there in Cincinnati, right? So you start in Cincinnati and slightly go uphill. We biked over 100 miles that one day.
Uphill all the way to Xenia.
We went to Xenia, from basically Cincinnati to Xenia. 50 miles, 51 or so. And we ate. Now
Or at least she ate.
I was hungry. And you know, if you bike 100 miles in a day, it don't really matter what you eat. I'll tell you that. It just you could go at it. It doesn't matter. Just have it. It'll be fine. You'll be fine. But I was hungry. Benita was so. I don't know.
I was overexerted and I couldn't really eat.
Yeah. But anyway. We did the bike.
He had a much better bike than I did.
Slept. Well, I prepared for it in the way that you did. Prepared for it. But anyway, I was hungry. And there's a nice 40-mile route around here that I go. And then, you know, you get really hungry. And when you're hungry, you don't pick at your food. Almost things taste so good when you're hungry. I mean, I'm talking hunger. You don't care. Think about your Christian life. When are the times that you really grew with God? It's when you had a hunger for Him. When are the times when you really went on with Him and deep with Him? It's when you had a hunger for Him. Because the passage says, blessed are you when you hunger and thirst. Not blessed in you when you've already ate your meal and are full. You're not blessed when you're full. You're blessed when you're hungry for God. That's when you're blessed. Because if you stay hungry, you're going on with God. As the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul pants for you, my God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. How many want the living God? My soul thirsts for God. I want the living God. I don't want stuff. I don't want religion. I don't want church. I want God. And then in Revelation, to the thirsty I will give water without cost from the spring of the water of life. Not to the satisfied. Not to those that pick at the food. Reminds me of the story of the two guys that were on vacation. They decided to go to church on Sunday. So they went to church. Afterward, the one guy turned to the other and said, I didn't get anything out of that. And the other fellow turned to him and says, you know what? You must not have been very hungry. daily bread and say, well, I guess that was it. Put it away. I mean, you can. And the daily bread can be the very thing that you need that day. I understand that. It could be a rhema word. But some days it ain't. Then what? I guess I need to press in more. If you got a hunger for God, you won't stop. Ask God. If you ask God for a hunger, you're blessed if you're hungry. You're blessed if you're thirsty. You're blessed if you're famished for God. You're blessed. Because when you stop getting hungry, when you stop having a hunger, when you stop having a thirst, you stop following God. It's kind of a reworking of what does the Lord require of us? What's the greatest commandment? To love Him with all your heart. To have that desire, to have that hunger for Him with all your heart and mind and soul and strength. How spiritual blessings come. It's not by having righteousness. How many think you're blessed if you're righteous? It's not by having righteousness. It does not say, blessed are you who have righteousness. It's not through success or prosperity. That still doesn't. No. There's a song there. I don't know if you hear that song. No, it's okay. Have you heard that song before?
Can't recommend. I've heard that beat 1,000 songs.
Yeah, really.
All I
Probably.
can hear is the beat.
There is a song that has that. No, I'll kind of tap into that. It's kind of interesting. Spiritual blessings come through a hunger and a thirst for God and His kingdom. That's how you get blessed. It starts with a hunger and a thirst. How many know that we can hear the right thing? We can hear the right thing on the radio. Maybe the actual word that's right for us. Or we can read it in the Bible, but if we're not hungry for it, we won't take it in. If we're not hungry for it, we're not going to eat it. You're only going to take it in if you're hungry. That's when we open our mouth and swallow. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. This is one commercial. I think it's a beer commercial. That's where this. It's a beer commercial, and there's this guy. He says he's the most interesting man in the world. Have you seen that one?
Oh, yeah. Dos Equis, my friend.
And what's he say in the end?
Stay thirsty, my friend.
That's right! And what the idea behind stay thirsty, my friend, is that you want to have, because the guy looks at like he has success. What's good? Stay thirsty! If you look at it, behind every great corporation somewhere, there are some men and some women that are thirsty for something. Some of them give their whole life for it. Read anything about Bill Belichick. He probably eats, drinks, and sleeps football. It's a waste in the kingdom of God. It's a misused thirst. Stay thirsty, my friends. If we're not thirsty for God, we're going downhill. How many understand this? when you're young, it's near supper time. Did you ever get caught sneaking a cookie or a piece of candy before dinner? And what would your mother tell you? You'll spoil your appetite. Well, I would think, well, isn't that the whole point of eating, to get rid of hunger? There was a little message in there that appetite is actually a good thing. And you don't want to spoil your appetite on junk. You don't want, because guess what? Just like John Ortberg in his article, Happy Meal Spirituality. Look at this. John Ortberg writes that when he takes his children to McDonald's, they always want the same thing. If they get it, the trip is a success, Ortberg writes. If not, it's sheer misery. The odd part is that what they are after is not the food. They want the prize. The prize is a pitiful thing, or it may be 10 cents, but for the moment, getting it is all that matters. Ortberg goes on to say that this phenomenon is not limited to children. When you get older, he writes, you don't get any smarter. Your Happy Meals just get more expensive. Happy Meal spirituality. We spoil our appetite on trinkets in this life. And then we wonder why we don't have a hunger for God. We've spoiled our appetite. What are the things that spoil our appetite? That's what needs cut out. It has taken our heart away from God. That's what this world will do. It will take our heart. And the devil will wave around some weird fruit. Look at that. Don't I look good? What are you going to say, Sam?
Satan wants to give us an appetite for destruction. Anything that takes our eyes off of God and feeds our soul in a way that's not of God is all for it.
Happy Meal spirituality. God knows that spiritual hunger is a precondition to blessing. So does the devil. He also knows that we are largely ignorant about our condition. How many know that? Have you swallowed? Just take out one head. Are you ignorant about your condition? Until something smacks you in the face. This is the problem we face when it comes to spiritual hunger. Jesus says the blessing of righteousness comes only to those who hunger and thirst for it. But our natural state is of denial and deception. That's our natural state. And we don't see it. Like the church of Laodicea, they said, they didn't think they had any needs. I don't need anything. I'm okay. I'm all right. This is what God did when He led them, the children of Israel in the wilderness. Look at this. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the desert these 40 years. To humble you and to test you in order to know what was in your heart. Whether or not you would keep His commands. He humbled you, causing you to hunger. How many know that God, He puts some pressure on you? He wants to cause you to hunger. And then sometimes we say, oh, I need this. Oh, I need that. He's causing us to hunger. And then He wants to feed us with manna. And we know how that went. We want some meat, God. Remember He blew quail down to them? And it sent leanness to their souls. talks about in Psalms. And a lot of them died. To teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. God wants us hungry for His word. That's what's going to sustain us. We can get our bellies full. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be satisfied. How many want to be satisfied? Just put it together. Satisfaction occurs when you're hungry and thirsty. I don't know if we equate those two sometimes. I know I have. When we're hungry and thirsty, it's like we want something. And when you want something, you're not satisfied. But when you start to get a taste of God, the real God, guess what? You get a more hunger for Him then. Your hunger for God increases. And you actually become more satisfied as your hunger for Him increases. But this world, you are hungry for something in this world, guess what? That stuff will never satisfy you. You have to have more and more and more and more, because then you get less satisfied and then you get weird. To the thirsty I will give water without cost. Came across this little story. It was kind of cute. He was a pastor, and he says when he grew up, his mom sometime would take her to visit friends with him. And he would just be there, sitting on the couch next to her, with his hands folded, listening to this conversation that was meaningless for him as a little boy. And it was he said it was excruciatingly dull. And at some point in the visit, he said the host would eventually break the monotony and ask me if I wanted something to drink. He says, I long for that moment, the way a prisoner longs to hear the sound of the key in the prison door cell. But he says, unfortunately, my mother had a basic rule of etiquette whenever we would visit somebody. If the host offers you something to eat, John, or drink, you say no thank you. If the host offers again, you accept. He says, what kind of rule is that? Maybe she didn't want me to appear greedy. Maybe it's because she grew up in the Great Depression. Of course, the problem with this little game is that nobody's seemed to have informed the host or the hostess of the rules.
Oh, like an unspoken rule.
They would say, would you like a cookie or would you like a glass of lemonade? And I would say, no, thank you. They would take me at my word and put the cookies away. He says, but the fundamental problem with this little ploy is that it's a lie. The fundamental problem is that when we're not hungry and thirsty for God, we're eating on other things and we're living a lie. It's a lie. And we believe the lie. hunger and thirst for righteousness. Happy are those whose greatest desire is to follow God and what He requires. The big deal about the passage, which I said is this hunger and thirst. That's the big deal of the passage. Because as you hunger and thirst for God, what happens? You get God. You get righteousness. Righteousness is a gift that you get when you seek God. Remember in college, back in college, when you just got to know Jesus, you pray about everything. You pray about little things. You pray about big things. There was this gal that wanted to quit smoking. She didn't know how. So this is what we did. We laid hands on her. Lord, the next time she takes up that cigarette, make her sick. That she just won't want to do it anymore. That it won't satisfy her anymore. It won't do anything right in her anymore. She came back the next meeting. And she actually called me. I lit up that cigarette and put it to my lips, and it was horrible. I hated it. And she threw it all away. And then she looked at me, I want to know this Jesus that you got. All of a sudden, she got a hunger for God. She wanted to know God, this powerful God. But we've graduated to, I'll just go to the doctor, he'll give you a patch. And I guess there's ways. When we're empty and at our end. That's a work of God. If you're hungry and thirsty and empty, that's God pulling on our hearts and saying, come to me. Come to me. When we know our lack, we're positioned to obtain His goodness. Righteousness works, first of all, on the inside. As He gets us hungry. It's like the woman with the issue of blood. She went to doctors. She spent money. She tried everything else. Nothing else works. I prayed that over people before. Lord, whatever the alcohol has done to help them out, I pray it don't work no more. I just pray it doesn't work anymore. Just open your hands and say, God, make me hungry for you. Let me see that my hunger for you can fill in the blank is but a lie. That stuff doesn't satisfy me. That stuff may make me feel good temporarily, but it has nothing to do. It actually takes my desire away from you. God, forgive me. Wake me up. I'm in deception and I'm in denial, and do what you got to do. Make me hungry for you. Lead me in this wilderness place and make me hungry for you. Do what you got to do, God. cut off my supply lines. I want to know you. I want to be hungry for you and love you and desire you above anything else. Have mercy on me, and I